Good morning, children. Welcome to our English class. Hope you all must be hale and hearty. Children, today we are going to deal with the first poem of our English reader, Oxford Inc. Part A, Unit 1, Section 3, The Charge of the Light Brigade by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Before moving ahead, let me tell you that the videos will be divided into three parts. The first part of the video will provide you an insight to the poet's life and the poem. That is, it will deal with the title, thematic structure, tone and mood, and language, and also the message of the poem. The second part of the video will deal with stanza-wise reading of the poem along with the explanation, and we'll get to know the meanings of new words and phrases. The third part of the video will comprise of the concluding stanzas of the poem, their reading and explanation, and meaning of difficult words. It will also deal with the poetic devices, summary and analysis of the poem. Now let's come to know about the poet, Alfred Lord Tennyson. The poem The Charge of the Light Brigade is written by an eminent Victorian poet, Alfred Lord Tennyson, who was born on 6th August 1809 in Lincolnshire, England, to a relatively wealthy family. Tennyson was a poet laureate of Great Britain and Ireland during Queen Victoria's reign. A poet laureate is mainly the chief poet who has to write poems about the important events that affect the country, hence writing about this battle. Tennyson's remarkable works comprise of The Princess, Ulysses, The Lady of Shalott, In Memoriam, and the poem itself. In 1829, Lord Tennyson was awarded the Chancellor's Gold Medal at Cambridge for one of his first pieces, Timbuktu. Tennyson died on 6th October 1892 at the age of 83 years. Children, what do you understand by the title? Do you think it has a historical background to it? Or do you think it's just an imagination of the poet? Can you guess the theme of the poem by reading its title? Let's know about the title of the poem. The Charge of the Light Brigade celebrates an act of bravery and sacrifice. It tells about warfare and narrates an entire story of the battle between the English and the Russians in the Battle of Balaclava during the Crimean War in 1854. Alfred Lord Tennyson wrote this poem in the memory of the British soldiers who sacrificed their lives in the Crimean War. The poem was written in order to mourn for the loss that the country suffered because of the mistake or a blunder done by their commander. However, the poem is more about glorifying their act of courage. Lord Cardigan attacked a valley with 600 cavalry men. The British were surrounded by cannons and faced a lot of hardship as they were not equally equipped with artillery. The poem gives a vivid picture of war, the soldiers, the battlefield, and horrors of certain death. It highlights the poet's feelings of pride in the soldiers. The poet admires their valor, and hereby this poem serves to honor their charge in the face of adversity and insurmountable odds. As discussed earlier, we would now be covering these elements of the poem. The Charge of the Light Brigade is set during the Crimean War in 1854 at the Battle of Balaclava in a valley. It was about a conflict between the English and the Russians. Let's discuss the thematic structure. The poem describes warfare. It portrays bloodshed in war. And yes, also the heroism and patriotism. It is a tribute to the selfless courage of the soldiers in the Light Brigade. as they died fighting for their country. The poet encompasses death throughout the poem. The obedience and loyalty of the soldiers is portrayed in the poem. The language used in the poem is short, simple, straightforward, and repetitive. The poem comprises of several moods and tones. The tone of the poem talks about grimness. It also deals with the agony of the soldiers. The poem, The Charge of the Light Brigade, also praises the valor of the soldiers and deals with their patriotism, although the tone maintained throughout the poem is of obedience. The mood of the poem is dramatic and somber. The atmosphere created by the poet throughout the poem is of screaming men, thunderous cannons, and charging horses. The poet Alfred Lord Tennyson, through this poem, conveys a message that war is all around us. It touches the lives of people across the world. War is scary, tragic, awful, but also sometimes heroic, exciting, and awe-inspiring. It shows our faithfulness, our courage, and our willingness to sacrifice. Children, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. You'll come to know the entire story as we'll deal with the poem in depth in our upcoming videos. Till then, take care of yourself. Goodbye.